Tikopia is a small high island in the southwestern Pacific Ocean. It is part of the Solomon Islands of Melanesia, but is culturally Polynesian. The first Europeans arrived on the 22nd of April 1606 as part of the Spanish expedition of Pedro Fernandes de Queirós. Location and geography. Covering an area of 5 square kilometers, the island is the remnant of an extinct volcano. Its highest point, Mount Riani, reaches an elevation of 380 meters above sea level. Lake Tairoto covers an old volcanic crater which is 80 meters deep. Tikopia's location is relatively remote. It is sometimes grouped with the Santa Cruz Islands. Administratively, Tikopia belongs to Temotu Province as the southernmost of the Solomon Islands. Some discussions of Tikopian society include its nearest neighbor, the even tinier island of Vanuatu. Its history as a Polynesian outlier. While it is located in Melanesia, the people of Tikopia are culturally Polynesian. The language, Tikopian, is a member of the Samoic branch of the Polynesian languages. The linguistic analysis indicates that Tikopia was colonized by seafaring Polynesians, mostly from the Ellis Islands. The time frame of the migration is not precisely identified but is understood to be sometime between the 10th century to the mid-13th century. The arrival of the voyages in Vanuatu could have occurred later. The pattern of settlement that is believed to have occurred is that the Polynesians spread out from Tonga and other islands in the central and south-eastern Pacific. During pre-European contact times there was frequent canoe voyaging between the islands as Polynesian navigation skills are recognized to have allowed deliberate journeys on double-hull sailing canoes or outrigger canoes. The voyages moved into the Tuvaluan atolls as a stepping stone to migration into the Polynesian outlier communities in Melanesia and Micronesia. In Tikopian mythology, Atu Ifafine and Atu Ararepuka are creator gods and Atu Araikafaka is the supreme sky god. Population. The population of Tikopia is about 1,200, distributed among more than 20 villages mostly along the coast. The largest village is Matautu on the west coast. Historically, the tiny island has supported a high-density population of 1,000 or so. Strict social controls over reproduction prevented further increase. Tikopians practice an intensive system of agriculture, similar in principle to forest gardening and the gardens of the New Guinea highlands. Their agricultural practices are strongly and consciously tied to the population density. For example, around A.D. 1600, the people agreed to slaughter all pigs on the island and substitute fishing, because the pigs were taking too much food that could be eaten by people. Tikopians have developed rituals and figurative constructions related to the fishing practices. Unlike the rapidly westernizing society of much of the rest of Temotu Province, Tikopia's society is little changed from ancient times. Its people take great pride in their customs, and see themselves as holding fast to their Polynesian traditions while they regard the Melanesians around them to have lost most of theirs. The island is controlled by 4 chiefs: Kifaka, Tafai, Taumako and Whangariri, with Kifaka recognized as the first among equals. Tikopians have a highly developed culture with a strong Polynesian influence, including a complex social structure. Field work on Tikopia by Raymond Firth. New Zealand anthropologist Raymond Firth, who lived on Tikopia in 1928 and 1929, detailed its social life. He showed how the society was divided geographically into 2 zones and was organized into 4 clans, headed by clan chiefs. At the core of social life was the tapeto, the house inherited from male ancestors, who were buried inside it. Relationships with the family family grouping of one's mother were also very important. The relations between a mother's brother and his nephew had a sacred dimension. The uncle oversaw the passage of his nephew through life, in particular, officiating at his manhood ceremonies. Intricate economic and ritual links between pay-to houses and deference to the chiefs within the clan organization were key dimensions of island life. Raymond Firth speculates about the ways population control may have been achieved, including celibacy, warfare, infanticide and sea voyaging. Christianity. The Anglican Melanesian mission first made contact with Tikopia in 1858. A mission teacher was not allowed to settle on the island until 1907. Conversion to Christianity of the total population did not occur until the 1950s. Tikopia is part of Anglican Church of Melanesia. The introduction of Christianity resulted to the banning of traditional birth control, which had the consequence of a 50% increase of the population, 1,200 in 1920 to 1,800 in 1950. The increase in population resulted in migration to other places in the Solomon Islands, including in the settlement of Nukuk-Isi in Makira. Shipwreck. Near Tikopia in 1964, explorers found the shipwreck of the expedition of Jean-François de Gallerup, Comte de la Pérouse. Cyclone Zoe. Cyclone Zoe in December 2002 devastated the vegetation and human settlements in Tikopia. Despite the extensive damage, no deaths were reported, as the islanders followed the traditions and sheltered in the caves in the higher ground. The narrow bank that separated the freshwater lagoon from the sea was breached by the storm, resulting in the continuing contamination of the lagoon and the threatened death of the sago palms on which the islanders depend for survival. A remarkable international effort by friends of the island, including many yacht crews who had had contact with Tikopia over the decades, culminated in the construction in 2006 of a Gabion Dam to seal the breach. Cultural significance. Jared Diamond's book Collapse describes Tikopia as a success case in matching the challenges of sustainability, contrasting it with Easter Island. Tikopia in media. In 2013, a Norwegian family of 3 children and the parents traveled to Tikopia and lived there for 6 months. A film crew went along and a 13-episode children's series was made of the family experiences and stay, primarily focusing on the experiences of the young daughter of the Norwegian family, Evie, her experiences with the local children, local school, the local chief Tafur and his family, etc. The series was shown on NRK television channel NRK Super.